You wanted the best. You've got the best podcast. The hottest podcast in the world. The Chris Voss Show, the preeminent podcast with guests so smart you may experience serious brain bleed. The CEOs, authors, thought leaders, visionaries, and motivators. Get ready. Strap yourself in. Keep your hands, arms, and legs inside the vehicle at all times, because you're about to go on a monster education roller coaster with your brain. Now, here's your host, Chris Voss.
Hi, folks. Chris Voss here from thechrisvossshow.com, thechrisvossshow.com. Welcome to the big show, my family and friends. It's wonderful to have you. The Chris Voss Show is the giant family that loves you, but doesn't judge you, at least not as harshly as your mother-in-law, because, well, she's your mother-in-law. She's never just going to like you. I mean, I think that's the role of mother-in-laws when it comes down to it. Besides, have you seen yourself lately? I don't know. Check a mirror. Anyway, guys, welcome to the big show. For 15 years, 2 to 3 to 4 episodes a weekday, 10 to 20 episodes a week, we've been bringing you the Chris Voss Show. It just keeps getting better and better, and we just have the most amazing guests on here. And then we have some idiot guy, me, who shows up and runs the mic. So there you go. And if you're not impressed by that, I don't know what the hell is going to impress you, but you will be smarter and more intelligent. Your skin will have the Chris Voss Show glow. We're going to be selling mason jars of the Chris Voss Show glow. You know, some of those OnlyFans, you've heard they sell mason jars and stuff. We're going to be doing that. The Chris Voss Show glow. I don't know what it is, but I think I see our guest has a bit of glow in his background. It might be something glows like that, like a kind of like a bumblebee or what do they call those things? The lightning bugs or something. Yeah, the Chris Voss Show glow. And you just you can just bathe in the light of it. And that's what you're doing when you listen to the Chris Voss Show. The sound light enters your ears and it just creates this skin glow. And people go, "My God, you look amazing." You're like, "I listen to the Chris Voss Show podcast." So don't hold out on the glow. Share it with your friends and family. Tell them to go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, youtube.com/Chris Voss, linkedin.com/Chris Voss, and Chris Voss 1 on the tickety-tockety. We got some amazing stuff we're going to be talking about today about an innovative entrepreneurial gentleman who's started a lot of companies in the tech world and some of the things that he's doing to resolve his stuff. The great thing about being an entrepreneur is, as an entrepreneur, you usually, you come across problems that you have in life. You're like, hey, this blender doesn't work right. I know how to make a better blender than this stupid blender or widget, whatever it is. And therefore you go forth and you do it. And then other people are like, hey, that's really cool. I want to do that too. So we have a wonderful gentleman on the show. John Pethke is on the show with us today. He is the CEO of Introverts LLC and co-founder of CoyAmore, the dating app for introverts. And as you can guess, he may be an introvert. Maybe all of us are when it really comes down to it. And he's discovered a new way to kind of get everybody together and get their introverted ways to get together and start breeding and making families and all that good stuff and happiness and I don't know, whatever the hell else goes on. We're going to find out. John is a U.S. Air Force veteran out of Appleton, Wisconsin. He got his bachelor's degree from University of Wisconsin Green Bay in organizational leadership and is currently working on his master's from the University of Wisconsin Oshkosh in sustainable management. He has worked as an internal auditor for the American Family Insurance and works part-time as instructor for Fox Valley Technical College, teaching veterans about small business development. Oh, I love that. We talked about that on the show. We need more of that. We need veterans to be taught how to run their own companies, do their stuff, because our military, man, they are taught the greatest skills of leadership, and they're entrusted with $1 billion of machines. I don't know why people don't hire more and put them in leadership. At the beginning of 2022, he started Introverts LLC and partnered with Code Glow Technologies, and they developed CoyAmore, the dating app for introverts. Welcome to the show, John. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me, Chris. I'm excited to be here.
And we're excited to have you as well. So give us your .coms. Where do you want people to find you on the interwebs?
Yeah, the website is CoyAmore.com. We're on all forms of social media, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, X, formerly known as Twitter. So yeah, any of those are good spots.
There you go. And they can download the app on Google Play and Play Store?
Yes. Yep.
Here, I'm going to download it right now. So tell us a little bit, 30,000 overview of what CoyAmore is and about.
Yeah. So CoyAmore, obviously, you said the dating app for introverts. Last year I was talking with some colleagues, and we were talking about dating and dating apps, and I had said, I wish there was a dating app for people like me who are more introverted. And he said, well, why don't you make it? And I was like, well, that's a nice idea, but I don't know anything about business. So I went ahead and looked into it, and there's a lot of platforms out there, and a lot of great ones, but nothing that really directly caters to introverts. So I did a bunch of research and kind of went forward with it. So CoyAmore, dating app for introverts. Basically, we want to be like Bumble in the sense that they focus on like helping women out in dating. So we want to help out specifically introverts.
There you go. Now, the byline on it, it's designed not to overwhelm its users. So does that mean you're not going to get, 1,500 messages?
When we get a lot of users, that could potentially happen, but not super likely.
Yeah, well, you can pace yourself if you're an introvert. You don't have to answer all of them at once, right?
100%, yeah.
You've got a unique match algorithm. Tell us what that is.
Yeah, so something that I found with what people value in dating is the 5 universal love languages.
Mm-hmm.
So we incorporated that into how people match. When you sign up and create your profile, you get to order your love languages and your preferred order and how you want to be loved. And you get to do that, and then we pair people based on who's most compatible with each other's love languages.
Ah. Now, my love languages are tacos, pizza, beer.
Language.
Is that gonna be compatible with the app?
I mean, you can definitely, throw that out there. It'll I'm sure
If I can find a woman whose love language is tacos and pizza, it will be simpatico.
I think there's a lot out there for you, honestly.
It's probably, I probably should be okay. Sushi too, maybe. I don't know. So this basically solved a issue that you maybe had.
I mean, like I'm a single person myself, but I'm more focused on work right now. But I think a lot of people would appreciate it. I've talked to a lot of people, and people who are in relationships were like, if there was a dating app that I'd use, that would be the one I would have used when I was single. And then, additionally, apart from that, for like feedback we've gotten online, a lot of people love the idea. So
there you go. Well, there does need to be a change in this space. The dating space is awful, especially for men. For women, it's great. They have all sorts of, they get 50,000 messages. But for men, it's really bad, and almost no men get seen, especially if you're under 6 foot tall.
yeah.
I'm lucky. I'm 6'2". I didn't know I won the birth lottery. But these women are running around nowadays and they want the 3 6s, and so they want men that are 6 foot tall. I was watching a dating app or dating coach recently, and she's like, all the women, they ask me for 6 foot tall guys, and it's like, do you understand that maybe 5% of them are single and available in the marketplace? There's not a lot of tall guys in the thing, and she's kind of stunned by how many people are like, hey, you want a tall guy? And it's like, good luck with that. So I mean, according to my stats in the U.S. Census, I'm in the top 0.015% of men when it comes to earning income and height, and of course ridiculously good lookingness. So there's that. But they don't realize how tight it is. But something needs to be done because it's so hard. My understanding with the height thing is if you're not 6 foot, well, about I think it's 5'11" and above, women just cut you right out of their search mechanisms. You're invisible. You go right invisible at that point. You could have $10 million in your pocket and 5 boats in Miami dock and I don't know, a whole garage full of Porsches and Lamborghinis, and if you're 5'8", you're screwed, man. No one's going to see any of that.
It's true.
And so there's a lot of other things that need to change the algorithm. I mean, it seems like, my local Tinder, I don't know how Tinder is elsewhere, but my local Tinder in Utah is all fake profiles. It's just all fake profiles. It's those same profiles that you're getting on Facebook where it's the Asian women that, hi, how's it going? And, they're not women, some probably guy in Nigeria is running them. But it's all that. It's in there, and you can kind of tell now. So what are some things that you guys do to really separate yourself from the other competitors in the market?
Yeah, well, I can't fix the tall issue. While I appreciate ambition and not settling, they're taking dream big literally, so good luck. But there's a couple things. Obviously, the match algorithm, that's not going to fix, fake profiles. That's always going to be kind of a issue unless background checks are incorporated, which a lot of people would probably not appreciate also for the sake of privacy. So,
oh, really?
Yeah, I'm sure I've heard that Match is going to incorporate it, but I don't know where they are.
I think they live on too many fake profiles. I see it everywhere on all the big dating apps. It's really bad. It's the worst on Tinder. I don't pay for Match. They're all owned by the same company, which is kind of interesting too.
And it's in their benefit also. Like I don't know that they want to get rid of it very strongly because it allows them to say we have this many users or whatever. So, but apart from that, one being, we promote like the community, like we are identifying ourselves as the dating app for introverts. So we want to take that and run with it. We have one specific dating app feature that's directly catered to introverts. When the initial development started, we wanted to add in, the basics that you would get out of any other app and run it just like another app, just because if it's not broken, don't fix it. So when people get on, it's very familiar to them. But so we're only able to incorporate one new feature for that, and that is the blind date feature. So when two users match, they will, start talking, presumably, and there's a toggle option. So when you're ready or when you feel like you want to go on a date with this person, you can toggle that on and it'll let the app know. It won't let the other person know, but when they also toggle it on, then the app will let them both know that they're ready to go on a date with each other.
Oh, wow.
It takes kind of the fear of asking somebody out and rejection away. So,
Now, does it only turn on for that person, or does it let everyone know that you're interested in going out with?
No, it'll just be between the two individuals.
All right, so between the two. Yeah. I mean, if you're a guy, you got to close that business, man. You got to close.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is. But I mean, I suppose if you're really introverted, that's the way it is. But rejection is just a thing when you deal with dating women. They own the assets there, and what is it? Women control sex, and men control marriage and relationships, or access to marriage. So as a man, you got to close. But I can imagine there's people that are really introverted that have trouble and they fear rejection. And oh no, what if I get shot down? What if I shoot my shot and miss? And I mean, you're gonna, I've told my young nieces and nephews, I'm like, hey, you're gonna go through. I mean, I don't know. I don't get rejected a lot, and I'm very picky, but I tend to be the one who rejects all the time. I mean, I maybe rejected, I don't know, 100 times in my lifetime. I mean, I've triple dated since the 90s when I power dated, and I've dated all my life in 35 years. But every now and then a girl's going to say no, or she's going to ghost you or do whatever. There's a lot of people now that really think ghosting is new. It's not. Women I've been dating since I was 16, 17.
I feel like a word for it now.
Yeah, I mean, women are just, they don't want to hurt your feelings. They don't want to, they're not confrontational like men are. They're not aggressive, usually. I've met a few that are. But they don't want to hurt your feelings, and so they're going to ghost you and sidestep you. And it's a quiet way of saying, "Hey, I'm not interested. Hey, it's cool, great, move on, next." But you're going to get lots of that. But I can see how some people, especially introverts, might really have a challenge with that. And then, do you? So you think the coolest feature on your app is that blind date thing?
Yeah, I'd say it's the most unique thing and the thing directly catered to introverts. I have plans to add in more. It was just, for the budgetary factor, I could only add so much in the first phase of development. So.
And then, so what was your journey like in building the app? This is technically your first business that you've created as an entrepreneur?
Yep. Yeah, it was,
you really jumped into with both feet.
Yeah, I sure did. It's been a roller coaster. Like I said, I didn't know anything about business, or not much at least. And, one of the hardest parts was actually finding like a developer. There's like so many options out there.
And not all are good.
Supposedly, yeah. And so that took a while. I interviewed a lot of companies and I landed on one that was local that I liked. And we partnered together, and I still work with them regularly. So they've been helpful. And then, right now I'd say like the toughest part, honestly, is just marketing. That's typically like a tough spot for a lot of people from what I understand. And it's like the main focus of or at least main expense of like a dating app business. So, I'm exploring a lot of different options between, like podcasts and general marketing, things that are affordable. I'm still going through a lot of interview phases with, different marketing companies to try and see if there's one that stands out for me. So, that's
press releases and all that sort of good stuff. And then you've got unlimited likes and retracts, so you can retract stuff. Looks like you've got some paid different things that people can do. Reveal all profiles that sent you a like. Advanced filters for profile preferences. I always pay for the reveal all profiles that like you, and I never get any results. Is it me or is it the app? I'm just kidding. That's probably true, actually. You didn't have to laugh at that, John. Yeah, I could see why he doesn't get any results. No, it's probably the beard, or it's my bad behavior or something, or maybe I'm just awful. And I don't know. I think what it is I'm just too freaking hot. Like women look at me and they go, "Oh my God, he looks like a version between Brad Pitt and George Clooney." And oh man, he's just so hot. All the girls I'm gonna have to compete with for him. So I'm just not even gonna go for him. I think that's my problem.
That makes sense why you're rejecting everyone. Yeah.
That is actually. Yeah. That is. I don't know. Women that are older than me love me. It seems that seems to be a popular thing. I'm at 55, so I think women that are slightly above me, they have two choices. They can date down to someone like me who's still, I don't know, upright, or they can date guys that are, I don't know, playing shuffleboard and wearing diapers. I don't know. I'm giving you guys shit. I'm sorry, folks out there. Everyone who's older than me is like, "Fuck you, Chris." I don't know why, but it just works. But and then you try. I date down, so I'm just like, this isn't going to work for me. But God bless people that reach out to me. So we need a new dating app. I mean, any way that you can make this better. I mean, if you've read and heard a lot of the problems that young men, especially young men who they usually date a lot and are having at meeting people, it's really hard for them. And I was lucky. I grew up where you had to do what they call a cold approach. You'd had to go up and meet a girl and get her phone number, usually at the club or out in public. And I can still do it. It's not that hard, And the hardest part is just figuring out if they're single. because obviously they don't go to clubs anymore. When you go to a club, you can pretty much assume everyone's single there. But it's a little hard in the store, especially if the kids are there.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, she doesn't have a ring on, but I gotta navigate the kids, and then I also gotta find out she's single. For all I know, she's married. Her husband's gonna turn the corner on me. But I can still do it if I need to. It's not that big of a deal, and I have no problem asking for a phone number, and I'm pretty slick with it. I've done it a lot of times, but a lot of the younger generation don't have those sort of skills. All they know is dating apps.
It's true. I've done it plenty of times. It usually doesn't work, but I think, my generation isn't as comfortable with it anymore. So
yeah. It's a lot of it is how you come across. There's confidence and there's a whole moxie to it.
Yeah.
And I've gotten phone numbers out of girlfriends that have their boyfriend somewhere in the club, and maybe sometimes they are married and stuff. And if you're just confident as hell, but introverts are going to struggle with that sort of thing. They're not going to be able to come across like real slick and confident. So it's good that they have a service like yours. What do you, some advice you give to people who are trying to start their own company and go down the journey you are? I mean, you've kind of gotten into the tech space, which is even a little bit more challenging and technical. Are you a tech nerd where you know all this stuff about creating apps and stuff?
Definitely not. I have like zero tech experience. I've learned a lot. But not enough to be, beneficial in the tech industry, really. But yeah, starting a business, I said it earlier, it's a roller coaster. So of like excitement and disappointment and figuring things out. Two things that I would say is like, do your research on everything. Like, don't be lazy on the research aspect of things. And also have patience. It's very difficult to have patience with a lot of things, right? So like I was a big part of like, I had a like mental image for what I wanted the app to be and look like. And I was very much a part of like how the design went. But like once we figured all of that out, we made our mock-ups, like it was like development phase for like half a year. And I was just like waiting. And like, there's nothing that they can like give me small updates, but it's like, I can't really help in that capacity. All I can do is like start looking towards the future, which is weird to navigate. So, for those situations, which is unique, but in any business, there's going to be a, unexpectedness. No one's like perfect at it. So it's having patience, in all things.
It's kind of like one of those, I liken it sometimes to that, what was the Field of Dreams movie? You build it and they will come. They're not always guaranteed to come, but sometimes you got to build it to see if they're going to show up.
Yeah, that's how I reference this app actually regularly is like when people ask about it, I'm like, well, if you build it, they will come. Now I just got to figure out how to let everybody know it's there.
There you go. Yeah. But they got to, they got to see it. It's got to be set up. And it looks like it's pretty well set up from what I've seen. I got to load in my pictures, looks like. But that's the main thing. And then people see the results, but there's almost nothing going on in these dating apps anymore. Yeah. It's just, well, for guys, the women are getting, I know. I remember years ago, this is in the 90s, I think it was, when Match was first coming up. And Match was one of those early dating app things that had hit. And I remember going out with a gal, and I learned that in order to get notice and dates, I had to watch for the new people that were joining the app. And, back then it was small and it wasn't like it was now. And so you would see the fresh faces and you'd be like, hey, talk to her. And so you'd have to, ask them out. Otherwise, they'd just get a bunch of messages. And so I remember taking one girl out, and we had a great time. And I think we got to second base or something. And we had a great time. And I thought she was really into me. And so I wrote her. I don't know why I didn't have her phone number back. Well, this is before everyone's like all cell phony. And so I wrote her on Match and said, hey, do you want to go out again, for a second date? I never heard back from her. So I said, okay, I don't know what I said on the first date, but, I I probably said something stupid, which is probably, what I do. And, she didn't like it, or maybe she rethought it, and that's cool. So I didn't hear back from her. So I walked away from it. And it was funny. Like 6 months later, I got a message from her. And she goes, "Hey, I just found your message." And I was like, "What?" And she goes, "Yeah." Now we're assuming she didn't blow off my message because she wanted to play in the pool that had been sent to her. But what stuck out at me was she goes, "Yeah, after we went out, I just had joined the app. I was getting 400 messages a day for months." And whether or not she purposely, ghosted me just because she wanted to see what was in the field, and maybe she was new off a relationship. I don't know what the hell.
Yeah.
But even then, I was like, 400 a day, 400 messages a day. It's complete what you would call option overload.
Yeah. Yeah,
And,
it 100% is. And I think we wouldn't allow for people to message ahead of time in general. There has to be a match.
So it's like Bumble.
Yeah, but I still think there is a option overload thing. It's just like there's more users now on dating apps, so they're going to get a lot of people like them. So yeah.
And there's some guys, they just like everybody. I'm not one of those guys. I'm a little bit more particular. And I've done Photoshop, so I can see all the Photoshop photos, and I've had enough of those bad dates where you show up and she looks, and you realize that she's put in her high school graduation pictures, and she looks nothing like that now, 20 years later, like a completely different person. You're like, who are you?
Yeah,
I've been catfished again. Turn it. And anti-catfishing stuff, that's a suggestion I'd make. If you can come up with ways to anti-catfish somehow, I don't know how you do it.
Yeah.
But if you can innovate something like that, that would be great. The other biggest problem that I see in dating apps now is the filter program. I mean, they can do filtering on these photos now. If you've seen some of the TikTok filtering, where I can look like a Victoria's Secret model.
Yeah.
Even with this beard, the filter will turn me into Victoria's Secret model. Probably. I don't know. I didn't test it, but it's just extraordinary. And I've gotten pretty good at seeing the neckline usually gives it away. You'll see like a variation when they move, and then the neckline and stuff. And there'll be breakups in how it is in the neck, but I'm sure that's just going to get better. But the catfishing and stuff. And then one of the other things that I'm just giving you some spitballing, some innovation ideas for you. One of the other problems is separating the people who really want to date and the people who just want attention and validation.
Yeah.
Because when I talk to my single friends, one of their biggest problems is there's so many people they're interested in that they think are there to date, and the women just want attention and validation. Right. They don't want to date. They're sometimes in a relationship, they're married, whatever, or they're in a situation where they probably know they can't really bring in a man. Maybe they're a single mother with a bunch of kids, and I don't know, whatever their situationship is and stuff. Like, I'd really like to see situationships end, because they're not even real relationships. Yeah. But if you can figure out how to square that dime, people who really want to go out, because there's nothing worse when you like somebody and they talk to you, and I don't waste a lot of time talking to people. I'm a go out person.
Yeah.
And if I want to talk to you, I want to talk to you on a date. Maybe introverts a little bit differently, but I'm not going to spend 50 hours texting back and forth to have you catfish me. And you show up and I find out you look nothing like your photos.
Yeah.
And I'm just not going to do it. Some guys will do it. A lot of guys do it, evidently, but I won't. And plus, I'm a dater. If I'm interested in somebody, I want to go on a human date with them and go out. Yeah. I don't want to sit there and, I'm old. I don't want to sit there. I can't pretend someone is some stranger's long way to friend, to put it in rush terms. What are some other aspects of the app we haven't talked about?
One thing is it's a simple thing, but with apps, you typically, how you match is like swiping or like tapping to connect with someone. One thing that we changed was our logo is like a heart in a thought bubble. So when you're scrolling through a profile, at the bottom of the profile, as you're scrolling, it'll just kind of stay with the screen. There's a heart on the left and a thought bubble on the right. So what you have to do is to tap the heart, drag it, and drop it into the
Ah.
Yeah.
So you can't be like these guys that I've seen on the TikToks where they hook up a hot dog to some drill and they're just
Yeah, it won't work that way.
won't work that way. There you go.
No.
I've seen people do it too. I mean, the joke is I've seen people joke about how it almost needs to be a thing. Like if you look at 400 profiles and you still haven't picked somebody, you don't get any more. Like you just cut off. You're just like, okay, you know what? Because I've seen both women and men and how they play it. And I've seen people that have no business being, there's a dating food chain. There's a food hierarchy, food chain dating app. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Yeah.
And if you're a 1 on the scale, whether you're a man or woman, you might be able to go up 1 or 2 on the food chain there, but you need to stay within your parameters. And that's one of the problems we're having in the dating pool. Everyone thinks they're freaking 10s right now.
Yeah.
And they call them 409s, 4s who think they're 9s.
I think you can tell, like, based off of the photos they put on their profile too, whether or not they think they're a 10.
Yeah. And you'll see it, you'll read it. I'm like a professional at reading profile stuff.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I've learned over the years, whatever it says in there is opposite day. So when they say, I'm really bubbly and really happy, it's like, oh, she's on antidepressants. And she gets in a bad mood like every 4 hours. I've learned that game. But no, there's space here, I think, for someone to innovate for something really different. And I like how you guys match on the love languages, I guess. I didn't fill those out as I was going through the app because I was kind of skipping through it real quick. But I got to go back and do my love languages, which I think are pizza, avocado toast, and tacos, and I don't know, huskies. Is huskies a love language? I have huskies.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, I mean, we certainly can figure out how that could be. If that's like the primary aspect of your life, then I would say probably so.
See, that's the one thing too that you get prejudice in dating is, if somebody has got a dog allergy, they don't want to date you. And I would love to date someone who likes huskies because they're such a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
You almost have to find someone who's lives an insufferable life with huskies that can understand, what all the hair is about and stuff. So I don't know. Maybe there's a dog matching aspect of things that they can do.
Yeah, I think in our advanced filters we have that specifically. Yeah.
Yeah. And I couldn't date ever someone who has cats. I mean, I could date them. I don't know. I'd marry them.
Right.
Have to be they'd have to cook really well. But yeah, the other thing it'd be is like, here's an idea for you. I don't know if you want ideas, but you're getting them.
Yeah, I always appreciate them.
You know what it'd be is there's a big thing in the dating market to what do you bring to the table? You heard that kicked around now?
Yeah.
There should be like a thing where people really put down like their true skills. Like, can you cook as a guy or girl? Can you clean as a guy or girl? Can you I don't know, what are you good at? Another one would be good is can you tell us how many times you've been to a psychiatrist and give us your number for referrals and references?
Yeah.
There should also be a thing where you can pull up references of ex-boyfriends and girlfriends. I think that should be a thing. I think they should be able to call and they should be able to say, if people treated exes and relationships like jobs, they might behave better. You know what I mean? Because like, well, I probably should not be an asshole when I leave this thing because I want a good reference.
Yeah, that's true. I could see it going the other way.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah. I've had a few girlfriends going, I don't want any girl to have you ever. So guy or girl, I guess. Wow, what is that about? This is great. I love that you're entering the space and doing it. I like you're building a new company. You might end up getting bought out because that one company that owns all of them pretty much just buys them out every time they start them. They bought Bumble, Tinder.
Yeah, there's a couple companies that.
Oh, are there now?
Yeah, Match is obviously like the biggest one. I believe, but I think there's more than one.
There's a big company that owns a lot of them. They own like Ashley Madison. They own like they bought them all out as they were going along, and so they kind of and there's a big kerfuffle with Ashley Madison with the fake profiles, but anything to combat the fake profiles. Like I don't know what is in my area on Tinder. There is just like 2 out of 3 posts are fake profiles, and they are, because number one, they're way too hot to be living in Utah. Like they look like international models, and you can see like European stuff in the background. You're like, you don't live in Utah,
Right.
You look like that. You go to New York or you go to Paris or something and model. And then it's always the Asian girls that you see that friend everybody on Facebook that are some guy in Nigeria.
Yeah.
And I can always tell too, because the photos will have like, you can tell the photos have been recopied because the pixels are fucked up. And that's one way you can always tell, because a girl takes her own photos, she'll have good pixels and everything looks good. But if you notice on the copied pictures where they've downloaded and reposted them, usually probably hundreds of times, they probably have a machine that does it.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy. But no, I wish you success on what you're doing. Any way that we can change the game and get more people out there. I know a lot of young men are struggling to date. There's been a lot of books and articles written on it. The incel generation, we need to bring to an end. I'm really not excited with what's going on with incels. And evidently there are femcells. There are women who are just of the same feature of incels, but they're femcells.
I have not heard that, but I believe it.
There are, yeah. There's they're grouped up, which is really weird, because like, if it's not working for you, don't join a group of people who it's not working for.
Yeah.
And sit around and complain about it all day long. Go figure out how to get it solved. Like if you're a woman who can't get a date, like, I don't know what to tell you. There's like 50 million guys hunting for women on dates these days. So there you go. Final thoughts and pitch out as we go out there, John.
Nothing specific, but thank you again for having me on here. I very much appreciated it, and you're very enjoyable to talk with.
There you go. I'll share it in some of my dating groups. What you probably should do is pop into some Facebook dating groups.
Yeah.
There's an endless supply of them online.
I've tried that actually, and they're super into like no soliciting. They've actually kicked me out of them a bunch of times.
Oh, that's right. Maybe you can find a way to pair with them. Like I've reached out. So I have a couple meetup groups for dating. You might try making your own meetup group for the app. Meetup's kind of a way that people have been trying to circumvent the dating apps, and because Meetup is about going out. And so I put up a Meetup dating group, and within like overnight it had a couple hundred people in it. And then yours is like nationwide. Mine's just local for the local area. But it really showed the desperation of both men and women that are like, hey, we want to actually go out and meet some people, man. We don't want to sit around and do all the stupid stuff, They recognize the importance.
I have a problem with that, but we'll see. One thing to note is right now we have like a mile limiter on the app. We're actually in the process of removing that, which should be done in like the next week or two. So that way, mind you, when you get on, and whoever you do see may be like across the country, but at least you will see people, because that was like one thing that we got feedback on is like, well, I joined in Florida, but I didn't see anyone. It'd be nice to see anyone, even if they're not in the area. So that's like something we're in the process of updating.
There you go. It's one of those things you just gotta scale it.
Yeah.
Right? You just got to get the scaling going on, and if people put enough marketing out there, get the PR going, which you're doing now. So I'm excited to see what you're going to do. I'll keep an eye on it, and I'll support it on my end, and probably refer as many people as I can to it, because I do like the love language thing. And I do love it where you can't sit and, just pound it all day long, and, people can swipe 50 trillion times. Yeah. I know what I like, and I don't need to see 50,000 things that I need to swipe. I swipe left probably more than any guy does in the world, but I've been dating for a long time. I know what I'm looking for and what I'm not looking for. And I know who's full of shit and who's not sometimes. So there you go. Thank you very much, John, for coming on. Give us your .com so we can find you on the interwebs, please.
Yeah, that's www.CoyAmore.com. That's CoyAmore.
There you go. Thanks, John, for tuning in. If you know some people that are in the dating market, some singles that are looking for love, and I think you cater to all different variations, right? People that want LGBTQ, Does it cater to people that are swingers? Those married folks.
Anyone, and I want to help people connect.
There
Extroverts
you go.
too, right? So
Extroverts too. I'm on there.
Introverts pair well together a lot of times. So
there you go. Do I have to disclose that I'm an extrovert?
You don't have to. That is something we're going to be adding in the future, so that way extroverts can't pair with extroverts. They have enough tools already.
Yeah, because I might, if I pair with somebody who's an introvert, they might like me because I'm an extrovert. Because they're like, hey, let him do all the talking and blabbing and work and stuff. Because I'm like that. I can go in an elevator or an airport and I can just start having rows of people laughing and joking, and that's kind of my personality, if you can't tell. But I can see how that would be bothersome to some people. Like, I don't want to hang out with that idiot. He's a loudmouth, and they'd be right. Thanks so much for tuning in. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, LinkedIn.com/Chris Voss. What else is there? There's Chris Voss 1 on Tickety Talkie, and I'm now on John's app, CoyAmore. So if you want to date me, whether you're introvert or extrovert, I do not discriminate. You can right swipe me or whatever it is on there. You'll have to go figure out his app. Thanks for tuning in. Be good to each other. Stay safe. We'll see you guys next time. No, I like this.